Hey guys, welcome back. This is Algebra 1, Chapter 1, Section 2, Example 3. And we're just going to jump right into it. And now you notice this one says up top, solve two ways. I'm going to be as blunt and honest with you guys as I can. The second way to solve this is something for kids that want to make sure they have the high level math. Now, if you understand how to do things multiple ways, you are on a higher level of intelligence. There's no way around that. But for people that are struggling, really just focusing on the first way I'm saying how to do it, because that will work for all problems. The second method is special to problems that are set up like this, okay, that only have X in a quantity by itself. So the first method will always work. So now let's start jumping into it. As I look at this, I need to solve this, but to get X by itself is really tough, right? Because now X is in parentheses. So I would think, okay, what happened to X? And it starts getting really jumbled. So remember what we said, before we start solving, we have to simplify each side. Simplification means distribution, then combining like terms. Hopefully we're familiar with what distribution is. We have these parentheses here. I have two sets of 1 minus X. Then I added 3 to whatever this became, and that was equal to negative 8. So my first step is going to be, first I'm going to distribute. So since I have two sets of 1 minus X, remember distribution, parentheses tell you you have a set. So that's what parentheses mean. We have this set of 1 minus X. The number outside the parentheses tells you how many of those sets you have, or in other words, parentheses mean multiply. So I have to take 2 times everything inside these parentheses. So 2 times 1 becomes 2, 2 times negative X, and then the plus 3 comes out. You see how now we drove that 2 through the parentheses? That's distribution. That's the first thing you look for. And then we simplify it through. 2 times 1 is 2. Negative 2 times X is negative 2X. Plus 3 drops. Negative 8 drops. Now we're looking at problems that distribution's done. Now we're looking at combining like terms. When I look over here, I look on the left-hand side. Okay, there's 2. Are there any like terms like that? Meaning, are there any other terms here that are just numbers? There is a plus 3. So instead of saying 2 minus 2X plus 3, I can put these together, and now I can say it was the minus 2X or the negative 2X plus 5. The 2 and the plus 3 became 5. The negative 8 still stays. Now I have no more distribution. I have no more like terms I can combine on either side. And remember, you have to simplify each side. Well, now that I'm here, now I'm just following my old inverse rules. Here's X. First thing that happened, it was multiplied by negative 2. The next thing was added by 5 equals negative 8. So we're hoping by this point you're able to start looking at this saying, okay, what's the first thing I have to undo? I need to get rid of that plus 5. What's the inverse of plus 5? Minus 5. I'm at negative 2X equals negative 13. X is being multiplied by negative 2. What's the inverse of multiply by negative 2? Divide by negative 2. Now that I have to divide each side by negative 2, I'm going to be left with X is 6.5. So while this looks very tough in the beginning, if you remember your steps, and you have to know what those steps mean. I don't want you just to write out the steps and always keep referring to your notes. You refer to your notes as you have to, but you try without it. Then you go back to your notes. You go, okay, well, what steps should I have done? So remember, first you simplify, okay? The first thing you have to do is simplify each side individually. Distribute, and then combine like terms to each side. So if you wanted to start, you could actually cover up this negative 8 side and just clean up the left-hand side on its own, and then clean up the right-hand side. Just luckily, we're getting easy problems now, okay? So that is going to be the big idea in this, okay? Now, I wrote down one more problem for us to work through because I wanted it to look more like one of the problems you see on your monitoring progress. I'm not trying to surprise anybody when you guys get to monitoring progress. So I think it's, number 9 is a little bit tougher. So I'm going to give you a problem that looked like it, okay? So as I go through this problem, you see we've got x's here, we've got x's here, we've got parentheses, we've got a whole bunch of stuff. Breathe out, start cleaning up. First step, simplify. The first part of simplify is distribution. So let's do that. I'm going to distribute this -3 through the parentheses set that it's matched up with. So it becomes -3 times 4x plus, and some people will write this differently, -3 times 3. This can be written by different teachers. Just let it go for right now, and I'll explain it in class. Now, this has been driven through that. So I'm technically done with that distribution, okay? Now I'm coming to this one. It makes you understand why people write the arrows. I'm taking 4 times -6. Excuse me, 6x. And I have no idea why my camera will not stop flickering so much. I'm hoping I can figure this out soon. I apologize. Now I have to drive the 4 to the +1. So plus 4 times 1, and that will equal 43. Okay? Now I did the distribution. I have not done the simplifying. Some of you guys are going to jump to this step right now. Better not make mistakes. This becomes -12x. This becomes -3 times 3 is -9. 4 times 6x is +24x. 4 times 1 is +4 equals 43. Okay? So we're moving along pretty good now. We're done with the distribution portion. Now we are looking to combine like terms. So when you look through, you want to think, what are my like terms? I'm going to box up all the individual terms just so you can see what I'm looking at. You will not have to do this every time because you'll be getting used to it. But as I box up all the terms, here is a term containing an x. Here is a term containing an x. These can be combined. -12x's combined with 24x's, or -12 plus 24 is 12, and I'm talking about x's, okay? You owed me $12 and you had 24, so you end up with $12 left over. Now I'm going to combine the -9 and the 4. -9 plus 4 is -5. You see how I just went through and combined all my like terms? Those two were like terms. Those two were like terms. So that became that. This one became that one. Okay? And it still equals 43 because I've had nothing to do on that side. Okay? Look at this problem now. This is something that we've been able to solve since the beginning. We're good on this. So now if I have 12x minus 5 equals 43, well, first I was x, I was multiplied by 12, then I was subtracted by 5. The first thing you have to undo here is, notice I'm pausing to try and give you a second answer. I need to add 5. And once I add 5 to both sides, I am left with, and I'm running out of room on my board, 12x equals 48. Now our final step here, divide each side by 12 because I have to undo the times 12. And I'm left with, sorry, I'm going to work over here, x equals 12, 24, 36, 48. 12 equals, or excuse me, x equals 4. Okay? And now we can go back and check. This is going to be kind of a long check, but who cares? We have calculators. We have everything we need. Okay? So we go in, 4 times 4 is 16. 16 plus 3 is 19. I'm at 19 times -3, 63. So we're at 57. Sorry, I'm like kind of writing this out everywhere because I ran out of room. So that whole part is worth -57. And then plus 4 times 6 is 24. Plus 1 is 25. 25 times 4 is 100. So plus 100 would equal 43. And then negative 57 plus 100 is 43. So we did it right. Hooray. Sorry that got a little scattered, but if you were following the video, you could actually follow everywhere I did it. You can change on your paper, make sure it follows. But that is example 3 and an extra example that I grabbed in from CUDA software. So you would want to make sure, I know this is all jumbled, and that's not how we want your work. What your work would be, I would never have had all this on the same board. I need to go get an extra board. That is what I will do for our future ones. But your work would be all of this coming down, and then you would circle your answer. All of this work is expected to be turned in on your scanned documents if you want full credit. Okay. So I hope that's not confusing to anyone. And it should look, come on. It should look like this. You won't have all these written out right now, but these steps would be needed. Okay. Now, that is the method 1 way to always show. Okay. Distribute, combine like terms. Now I'm going to go back to the first problem we had and go through the second method. The second method just has you look at it. You look at 1 minus x as a single entity. So I'm going to think about isolating this by itself. So it's 2 times an unknown plus 3 equals negative 8. This won't work all the time. So this is just a trick for people that get it. If you don't want to get it, go ahead and move on, do your homework, do it the other way. But if I was going to look at it this way, the first thing I'd want to get rid of is that plus 3, okay? So subtract 3 from both sides. 2 times the quantity 1 minus x equals negative 11. Now I'm going to divide both sides by 2. And then you'll see I'm left with just the 1 minus x equals negative 5.5. Now you really have 2 steps left. I need to get rid of this positive 1. So I'm going to subtract 1. I'm left with negative x equals negative 6.5. Now divide both sides by negative 1, and I'm left with 6.5, which was our answer to the first problem that we had before. So 2 different ways to get the same answer to the first one. 2 different methods. I would suggest, honestly, method 1. It always works. So if you struggle with math, I will use this method because I've been doing math for a little bit while longer than you. If you struggle with math, I would make sure you learn method 1 because it will always work. All right, so now you should be working on your monitoring progress, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you very much.